I bought a ranch for peace and privacy, but Karen tried to turn it into neighborhood parking. I didn't move out to ranch land for excitement. I moved there to escape it. No traffic, no sirens, no shared walls, no strangers arguing about mailbox colors. Just land, open sky, quiet mornings, and enough space that if I wanted to stand in my yard and yell at clouds, nobody could hear me. It was perfect. The house sat on several acres, long gravel driveway, big front gate, barn in the back, and a wide open field beside the house where I kept equipment, trailers, and occasionally absolutely nothing. Which, as it turns out, was the problem. Because empty land does something dangerous to entitled people. It gives them ideas. Now technically, my ranch bordered a newer housing development. Rows of tidy homes, tiny yards, two-car garages are somehow always full of junk. And at the front of that development lived Karen. I first saw her standing near the fence line with sunglasses on and arms crossed like she was inspecting territory. She waved me over. Never a good sign. I walked up. "Morning," I said. She ignored the greeting and pointed toward my side field. "You don't use that area much, do you?" That was her opener. Not hello. Not nice to meet you. Just immediate interest in my property. I said, "Sometimes." She nodded slowly, like she had already made a decision. "That could solve our parking issue." "Excuse me?" Karen explained that their subdivision had guest overflow problems. Translation: too many people, too many cars, too little planning. Then she smiled and delivered one of the most confident one-liners I'd ever heard. "We'd like to start using your side field as visitor parking." We'd like this was a community garden request. I laughed, out loud, because surely this was a joke. It wasn't. "I'm not turning my ranch into a parking lot," I said. She frowned like I had denied oxygen to children. It would benefit everyone, except me, whose land it was. I tried to stay polite. "No thanks." Simple, clean, reasonable. Karen, however, treated rejection like a technical error. "You have plenty of room," she argued dramatically. "And it's selfish to let space go unused during peak parking demand." Peak parking demand, on my ranch. I stared at her. "You're talking about my private land." She tilted her head. "Private thinking like that hurts communities." That sentence should be studied in laboratories. For a week, nothing happened. Then Saturday arrived. I looked out my kitchen window and saw 3 cars parked inside my side gate. Inside. My gate. On my land. I froze. Coffee halfway to my mouth. Then I saw Karen standing nearby directing traffic like an airport marshal. "This row can fit 2 more," she shouted. 2 more. I walked outside immediately. "Why are there cars on my property?" Karen turned with the smile of someone caught doing something insane but still confident. "We're trying the layout." Trying the layout. On land she did not own. I told everyone to move their cars. Now. Some neighbors looked embarrassed. Good. They should. Karen stepped forward. "There's no need for hostility," she said dramatically. "We're organizing a temporary community solution." Temporary community solution. "Lady, this is trespassing with optimism." I pointed to the exit. "All vehicles leave now." She crossed her arms. "You're creating unnecessary tension." "No." "You parked strangers beside my barn." The cars slowly started leaving. Karen was furious. As the last SUV rolled out, she gave me the classic line, "This isn't over." Of course it wasn't. Nothing with Karen ever ends normally. I said, "It was over before it started." She leaned in closer. "We'll see what the HOA says." I almost laughed again. Karen, I told her, your HOA does not govern my ranch. She smiled. We'll see. That smile meant paperwork was coming. 3 days later, I received an envelope from their HOA. Amazing. I opened it. Inside was a notice requesting cooperation with neighborhood traffic solutions and compliance with shared access expectations. Shared access expectations. For my ranch. I read it twice just to appreciate the confidence. Then I framed it mentally as evidence, because now, this was getting fun. The next weekend I heard engines again. I looked outside. This time, orange cones, portable signs, and Karen placing one near my gate that said, "Event parking, no permission, no shame, no survival instinct." I walked toward her slowly. She looked up and said, "We're streamlining." I reached over, took the sign, folded it, then closed and locked my gate, right in front of her. Click. That lock sound was beautiful. Karen gasped like I had shut down public transit. "You can't block community access?" I looked her dead in the eyes. It was never community access. About 20 minutes after I locked the gate, a patrol car pulled up. Of course, because Karen treats police like customer service. The officer stepped out and looked around. Open land, fence, locked gate, one angry woman vibrating with outrage. He asked, "What seems to be the issue?" Karen rushed forward dramatically. "This man," she declared, pointing at me, "has blocked community parking access and is disrupting neighborhood traffic stability." Traffic stability. On my ranch. The officer slowly turned to me. "Sir, do these people normally park here?" "No," I said. "Do they have permission?" "No." He nodded once. That was all he needed. The officer turned back to Karen. "Ma'am, this is private property." Karen gasped like he had insulted democracy. "It's an adjacent property," she corrected. Adjacent. A powerful legal term meaning absolutely nothing. She continued with one of the longest dramatic one-liners of the day. "When land remains underutilized beside a congested community," she said, "reasonable shared access should be expected." The officer blinked, then asked the simplest question possible. "Do you own it?" She hesitated. "No." Boom. That should have ended it. But Karen doesn't surrender. She expands. "We have overflow needs," she argued. "He has excess land." I crossed my arms. "That's not how ownership works," she pointed at me. "That kind of selfish thinking is why neighborhoods fail." "Neighborhoods fail? Lady, you're trespassing with cones." The officer finally sighed. "Ma'am, people cannot claim parking rights over land they do not own." Another direct hit. Karen reached into a folder. Yes, a folder. She pulled out papers and waved them triumphantly. "We have documentation!" The officer took them, looked down, then looked back up. "This is a printed map from Google." I nearly collapsed, laughing. Karen, however, remained serious. "It clearly shows open space." Open space. Apparently now transferable. The officer told everyone to leave the property boundary and stop placing signs or cones near my gate. Neighbors scattered, fast. Funny how courage disappears when uniforms arrive. Karen stayed, arms crossed. "This isn't over," she hissed. Of course not. She had one move left. The HOA. 3 days later, another letter arrived. This one was bolder. Mandatory community access discussion, community access, to my ranch. I smiled so hard my jaw hurt. Because now they wanted this nonsense in writing. Excellent. I prepared maps, property deeds, county parcel records, photos of their cones, and my personal favorite, the event parking sign. The clubhouse was packed. Neighbors came for drama. Board members sat at the front pretending this was normal. Karen sat in the first row, radiating false confidence. The president began. We are here to discuss potential cooperative parking solutions involving adjacent land. I stood immediately. Correction, I said. My land. The room got quiet. Good start. Karen rose like she was addressing Parliament. This ranch owner, she declared dramatically, has refused to support neighborhood functionality despite possessing abundant unused acreage. Abundant unused acreage, that's called property, she continued. Communities thrive through sharing. Easy philosophy when volunteering someone else's land. My turn. I placed the deed on the table, county maps beside it, photos of trespassing vehicles, photos of cones, photos of Karen's sign. Then I said calmly, "You attempted to convert private ranch land into guest parking without consent." One board member whispered, "Oh no." Exactly. Then the back door opened. 2 county code officials walked in. Turns out, I had also made some calls. They introduced themselves and asked who had been placing unauthorized traffic signage and directing vehicles onto agricultural zoned land. Every head turned toward Karen. Magnificent moment. Karen stood up so fast her chair nearly filed a complaint. "I was organizing solutions," she shouted. One official replied, "You were creating unauthorized commercial-style parking operations." Commercial-style parking operations, over minivans, she pointed at me. "He forced this." By owning land, the HOA president looked exhausted, very exhausted. "We have no authority over non-member private ranch property," he said. Boom. "And we will not pursue this matter further." Boom again. Then county officials added that future unauthorized signage or parking coordination could result in penalties. Karen.exe began smoking internally. The next weekend, my ranch was quiet again. No cones, no SUVs, no fake parking attendants, just whined across the field. I stood by my locked gate with coffee in hand. Across the fence, Karen glared silently, and I gave her a friendly wave. Because nothing says victory like using your own land exactly how you want.